Hi, everyone. Welcome into Primetime TV. We are here. Barbara Marville-Kelly, Dennis Kelly. We're back again 2 weeks in a row.
Can't get rid of us.
I am telling you, well, you know, this was kind of like a last-minute change. We were going to be doing our wonderful Women Unscripted show. The gals were ready to come in, and then there was just some changes, you know, so we thought, well, we'll just have to come in and fill in for Women Unscripted. Do you think you could fill any one of those girls' shoes?
That's a loaded question.
I know. Well, we're going to work on having our Women Unscripted show back in June or July, and we will have another great show. And if we're not all here in the studio, we'll just do the Zoom like everybody else is doing. But I want to welcome everyone because we're excited again. It was great to come back after, what was it, 3 months that we were gone? And I was really starting to go through withdrawal because I miss coming to the studio and seeing the crew, seeing all you guys out there. So we're going to have a continuum of last week and talk about some of the different things that we talked about last week, only maybe a little bit more, and then what's coming up. We're going to have a strong July. I promise you, we're going to share a lot of the different things that we've researched on, different supplementation that we've been taking, any tools of the trade for bettering, if there's such a word, making our health and wellness better and giving us better support so that we can push ourselves through whatever comes our way. Because I know if you're like us, you'll agree that we do have some volatile times. It almost feels like the world is just upside down. And it doesn't have to be that way if we have the right attitude, we hang out with the right people, stay positive, and have a strong foundation of faith, and just learn what we need to learn to get through this, because it doesn't have to be a deal killer in life. Believe me when I tell you that. So I'm glad that you were able to accompany to the studio today. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I drove pretty good, didn't I?
Yeah, how about that? You always do.
Oh, okay.
You're a pro.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've never caused an accident, knock on wood, right?
Well, the accident was you married me.
Oh, no, that wasn't. That was a good thing. And we discovered that after being hunkered down, we were just talking about this with John Gaston, our producer, just before the show, you realize what you have or what you don't have in your family, right?
Well, I think, maybe skipping the subject a little bit, but I think that this virus situation is bringing people a lot closer together.
I do too.
Because then now they got time to spend with their family, and some of them would play games, some of them would do this, some would do that. The key thing is you get it's almost like you get to fall in love all over again.
We said that to each other, didn't we?
Yeah, that's why I said that.
And we will.
It's the truth.
It truly is. It just, not that we fell out of love, it just was stronger.
Yeah.
And so many things have happened in the last few months, and some of the things that we haven't really been playing games, but what we have been doing is really looking into different ways to improve our health and wellness. And you know that that's really been our wheelhouse ever since we've been together, and way before you and I ever met. And it's been very, very exciting because some of the research that we have done and found on different products we're taking, we're going to share with you every single one of our secrets to success. Whatever that success is, we're going to share with you. Last week we did talk of one of them, which is, you know, with this virus and people being stuck inside, not being able to go out, and then you go out, go to the beaches, go whatever, and then they're pulling it back. I mean, the beaches, some of the beaches are closed 4th of July weekend. And I'm sitting here, well, we kind of anticipated that, right? So what is that doing to our mental health? And we've asked ourselves that question on what do we do for our mental health? Well, if any of you have ever shopped with me on HSN, or have attended any of our Tai Chi Qigong classes, or have taken our coaching program, you know that the foundation is faith first and HeartMath Institute. And I know we shamelessly promote to that, but there's a reason for it, because you and I have both been living it. You're a certified trainer with HeartMath since 1999, right?
Yeah, that's right. You remembered.
And it's the first thing that comes out of our mouth, and especially right now, because you can take the training for free as much as I dislike that word, it's just stronger than complementary. But right now, HeartMath Institute has made a lot of the training that you went into the mountains and became certified not once but 2 times and spent a whole lot of money for it. And I'm going to give you the website, which is dennis-kelly.com. You can click onto the HeartMath Experience on the very first page, and you'll see that when you click onto that, you can actually enroll. They give you an enrollment key. There's no cost to it. It was $29.95, and then they took that away during the virus because of the need for the world to come together in love and make a difference. So you can get that, or you can go to barbaramarville.com, and it's on my front page as well. And I have the HeartMath video there that gives a little exercise with beautiful music in what would happen if millions and millions of hearts came from love.
There wouldn't be any more wars.
There wouldn't.
And hopefully our civilization is headed in that direction.
I hope so.
Because before it gets better, it's going to get worse. But I believe in the good Lord that in the long run, those that treat the world right and each other right are going to have a nice place.
That's very kind of you to say that, and I know it comes from your heart. So, but I did want to talk just a little bit about HeartMath Institute, and one of the reasons why we're such firm believers is because it's all based on science. And living a heart-centered life really gives you that opportunity to make the right choices. And isn't life all about choices? You can go this way or you can go this way. Well, how do you know whether you're making a right choice or not? When you learn these techniques and the skill sets, it teaches you to live from the heart as opposed from the head. And before I really learned this and mastered it, I was making some head decisions. Fortunately, I learned before I married you that I was definitely making a heart decision when I decided to say yes. And it's no different than when you're trying to make a decision if you're going to be changing careers, if you're going to, there's so many different supplements out there in the world. There's so many different nutritional products, from pills and potions and lotions and all of that. And to make a good decision on which way to go, we go to our hearts. And we work with people that we trust and that we've known, and we do the research behind the products or the system or the device or whatever. And you're going to be hearing through the next half of this year, you're going to be hearing what we've been doing to help ourselves. And if it resonates with you, then we want you to join our teams and come on board. And we're going to be here every Monday, as far as I know, with our new time slot at 2 p.m. And we're going to start doing more watch parties and re-showing, re-airing some of the videos so that you can tap in and get a little, it's almost like a mental health break, because we're always very positive. Sometimes we have our little moments of a moment meltdown. Usually for me, I'm being brutally honest, it's always when it comes to technology. However, as of late, we've met a lot of really great people in addition to our crew here, who John always gets me out of that bad place when I can't figure something out, no matter what it is, when it has to do with any kind of technology. But that really sends me in a tailspin, as you know, right?
I should know. I've been with you, 20 years? 20 wonderful years.
Yep, it has. So anyway, just a little bit of that in our open to let you know what's going on, and we're going to be continuing on doing some coaching. There's a lot planned, and we started this last year when we came up with our 2020 vision for 2020 and staying laser beam focused on what is truly important to us. And what's important to us, we want to share with you. So if you have any questions, I'm going to try to even be even better looking at Facebook page. If you have any questions and you want us to answer right on the spot, we'll be happy to do that. Now I'm going to turn it over to you and see how long you can talk. I'm just kidding.
Well, I think what's important is that you learn how to treat yourself. You learn how to communicate first with yourself, then you become a better communication person with someone else. Most people can't communicate. The problem is that they don't believe that this power that we all have is going to improve them. The problem is that they try to communicate without communicating with themselves. First thing is to find out, or to say to yourself, how do I act when I'm stressed out? How do I act when I'm really upset? What do I do? When I do a seminar, I have each person stand up and talk about what they do when they get crazy, so to speak, when they get really upset. And it's amazing. Some people cry, some people get physical, some people get depressed. The key thing, and before you marry somebody, find out how they fight. Find out how they fight, because they might be a point when you got this wonderful person that you're with, but when they get to the first fight, you see, oh my God, I lost my mind with being with this person. So, you know, it's a fragile thing to talk about, because most people don't want to go through that. But there's a lot of truth to that. How do they fight before you marry them? I don't mean a physical fight, obviously.
Right.
It might turn into one. Then
Right.
I'm not responsible.
Well, I remember you saying about if we have a little, whatever it is, you made a compliment to both of us that we fight nice.
Yeah, we do. We fight nice.
We fight nice.
We don't go and slam doors. We don't leave the establishment. We don't do those, throw things. Sometimes we'd like to, probably.
Well, you know, we've kind of learned, I mean, at this stage of our lives, and we appreciate who we are, we appreciate each other. And now if we can just share some of those skill sets out there in the world, and a lot of it has to do with how we're taking care of our bodies. And are we getting that physical exercise? And I know that is a very loaded question, because we've had our challenges with that too, with the gyms being closed, our trampoline breaking down, and all of that, that really helps keep us on the upswing and helps us with our mind chatter and dealing with stress on a regular basis. And if you watch the news, you can forget about it, because you don't know who to believe. You don't know which end is up. Right? We've never been through anything like this the last 4 months that we've gone through. Nobody has.
No, and it's a new way to really learn something new. Mm-hmm. How do you handle this major type of stress outside of your family, outside of your home? Because what's happening now is going to affect everyone. And how people respond to this is going to make the difference, whether it's a good thought or a poor thought. How do I respond? Well, I tell everybody when I do a class on stress management and so on, I respond, and it works for me, and it'll work for almost anyone. I respond in a sense, what could be good about this? Mm-hmm. Or what is good about this? Either way, there's something in every silver lining, or every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. And it's not an old cliche. That's been around for a long time, so it's not anything new, but it's something to revert to. What you have to believe to be successful, what you have to believe to make this situation good, and get a good, strong belief system, and always be on a positive edge, not on a negative edge. The problem is we were born more negative than positive, believe it or not, because first thing we do when we get born, we get patted on the butt, in some cases.
In some cases.
Yeah, right. But the key is to find out what you're going to have to think. Because remember, thoughts are things. I'll get it out a little sooner or later.
Thoughts are things, and you love to say that. It's true.
Every time I say it, I get overexcited, because thoughts are things. What you think about, you bring about. The key thing, we can't control our thoughts, but most people control our thoughts. People decide how they want you to be, even though they may not want you to be to them.
That's right. That's right.
And as a result, there is a miscommunication there.
But don't you feel that when you have a strong belief system, that it just spills over into every area of our life experience, whether it be personal, whether it be in business, whether it be just out there socializing with people? When you have that system that has worked, and we don't know everything there is to know about everything, right? We're still learning. Right. At almost 72 and almost 83, we're still learning. We've learned things in the last few months about ourselves, about our bodies, and what we need to be doing at this stage of our lives. And just because we have a few years on our plate, it doesn't mean that we have one foot in the grave either. So we've discovered some really wonderful things that we're doing that you'll probably tune in next Monday, could be next Monday, where I'm going to lasso Miss Mary Louise to come on board with us. And she's out in Utah, is going to be really sharing a lot. We've been hanging out with her and some other people that have it's just like a great team that we're all on the same page for helping people and to help put people to work. So I'm very excited about that. We're not going to reveal anything because we didn't bring our setup yet. That's coming in the mail, and we'll be talking about that next week. But we have found that some of the things that we've been doing in the past, we needed to update, right?
Yeah,
Update what's available.
We need a little bit of shot in the arm.
Because if you're like us, and we get very set in our ways with maybe a certain protein drink, right? And you think it should be just this all the time, and well, then something else comes out, excuse me, that there's something else, and you do your research on that, and that's the latest buzzword or whatever. But with you being a sport nutritionist, certified sport nutritionist, and for those that don't know, 6-time world martial arts champion, the discipline that you had to implement in your belief system took in everything that you wrote in your book, The 6 Steps to the Fountain of Youth, and one of them was supplementation and nutrition.
I did a whole chapter on that.
Yes, you
did. It's so important. But the really truth of the matter, your life is really governed by what is true. But your perception of life is what really gets you over the hump. In other words, if years ago they thought the world was flat, so their travel was very limited.
Yes.
I don't want to fall off the edge of the world,
Yes.
the edge of Earth. However, what the next step is knowing that the world is round, you'll travel more. You won't have your travel limited because you're going to fall off the end of the earth. Sometimes you may feel like you are. But the key thing is your perception of life is how you're going to feel. So once we know the world is round, we don't fear traveling. Well, that's a metaphor for life in itself.
Sure.
Life is governed by what's true, but your perception of life is what you believe to be true. It's not what you don't believe that governs your life. It's what you believe it's not true.
That's right. That is true, what you just said.
Now, how do you know it's true? Go to your heart. There's a whole section of books and tapes and everything for learning how to go to that simple thing called the heart. Heart is 60 times more electrical power than the brain. In other words, there's 60 times more electrical energy than the brain. And the heart is also captivating how not only you feel, but what you see for the future. And when you put it into your heart, you build a passion that you need to really make this work, then it's like changes, it's a whole new ball game. Most people govern their life by the brain. The brain is to get information. It deceives us in many ways. The heart does not, because the heart has a brain inside of it. It's been proven there are crystallized cells in the heart, the same as in the brain, and they communicate. Then you got the gut, which is the third form of communication. The gut, we have over 100 million neurons in our gut, the same as in the brain. So once you know that, then you govern your life more by the heart. And if you want something bad enough, get passionate. See all the benefits from getting that goal. Feel the benefits from getting that goal. Think of the goal has already been accomplished. And believe it or not, you'd be surprised how your life changes. Yeah, for your wife and you.
I love when you talk about that too, is because setting goals is definitely one of the things that you do in your workshops, in your seminar, in your book. Your whole system of trineurogenics, which you coined that name many, many years ago when you were using me as sort of a example to see how your program was going to work while you were writing the book. And I love the name, the word trineurogenics. I want you to give everybody that concept through the mind, body, spirit.
Well, the tri stands for the mind, the body, and spirit. And the fuel is what the spirit is that drives the vehicle. And then there's the map, which is the mind. So when you integrate the mind, the map, and the spirit, a lot of wonderful things happen. And you remain positive. Anytime something happens that you test yourself by saying, what do I have to believe to improve this situation? What do I have to believe in this to find a benefit? And you will always find one. I know when the doctor diagnosed me with Parkinson's disease, I first thought was, God, why me? I do all these things to make my body work, and I go to the gym every day of the week except sometimes on Sunday. And what am I going to do? Then I thought to myself, no, wait a minute, why not me? I'm a warrior. I love helping people, and I know that I'm not going to succumb to this disease. It's not going to do me in. It's not a death sentence. So what I can do is encourage people. It gives me a platform stronger than the one I was in. The one I was in was I won 6 world championships. Find out what I do to do that. But this is even bigger. This is even better because I'm helping people. For the first few years, my martial art training and everything was for me. But I stopped getting the big benefits out of for me. What really gave me the big benefits is for helping other people. Now, you don't have to be a seminar director or whatever to help people. Just here's the rule of thumb that I use, is when somebody walks away from you, how do they feel? After talking with you and being with you, and they walk away from you, how do they feel? Do they feel good or do they feel bad? And I always try to make people feel good about when they leave my presence, where they can think some good things rather than bad things.
And it's genuine. It's really genuine.
Yeah, it is.
Truly
it's not,
genuine.
I'm doing this so I could get my kicks. I'm doing this because this is the thing to do.
Well, and it feels good to help others. It really does feel much better. And
absolutely.
I think that's one of the things that attracted each of us together. Who ever knew that we would be out there on the circuit after you retired from the circuit of competing and all, but you used that to really have as a foundation and to validate what you've done. And we received a call, well, I received a call on our home phone the other day from a student that took classes with you at Gold's Gym.
Years ago.
Years ago. Many, many years ago. And wanted to know if we were still teaching in the area. Well, we have been up until recently. And did we have our DVDs, which we do. And it was such a wonderful combination. She says, well, what else is Master Kelly doing? And I told her, and she says, well, I want to do that too. I want to take the program. I want to take the supplements that you're taking. And so, in fact, we need to call her this week because I know she received her program. And it's just, when I hear what people say about you, it goes right back to what you were saying on how you make other people feel when they leave your presence. And it is a feel-good feeling.
Yes, it is.
Where everybody gets something from that.
Your life was governed a lot by what you choose to feel good. If you feel good with Coke, that has its danger side.
Yes.
That's the wrong feel good.
Yes.
If you feel good about putting people down because it makes you feel superior, that's not a good thing.
That doesn't feel good.
So you access that mindset, going to the heart. What will I do to make this people feel a little bit better?
Sure.
Person.
Sure.
There might even be oh, I love your hair. Your hair really looks nice. I like it that way.
Thank you.
That will be it needs to be sincere. You don't do it just to get a compliment. You do it so the person feels good. And we were trained, when you give somebody a compliment, don't stand there and wait for the reaction. Don't stand there getting the response so it makes you feel good. No, you give them the compliment and you get the heck out of it. Because that compliment will stick with their mind stronger than if you stood there and waited for a response. Then you're really not complimenting them for the right thing.
You know, I love that you brought that compliment thing up because I do that with perfect strangers.
I know you do. You're a major at that.
If I'm out and about and I may see, and it doesn't matter the age or anything, but I feel so right in giving a compliment to someone, and maybe it made their day. And you can tell. Have you read people's body language? Well, you don't go out as much as I do, but I'll tell you, I've been reading people's body language, and they need more compliments now more than ever before.
People are losing confidence in the government.
Yes.
And when you lose confidence in your government, then you lose confidence in the local people that are supposed to govern our lives, and losing confidence in the police force because of the idiots that don't understand what they have to go through. Sure, there's bad cops, there's bad preachers, there's bad ministers, there's bad school teachers, but there's more good. And you have to focus your energies on, how can I help the good people, the good thoughts? How do I manufacture the right things to do to make those things a little bit better?
And the other thing is, too, I still believe in hope. Even for those people out there that, I forget how many people I've said this to just recently and posted on Facebook. All of this, what we're seeing out there, is what? Failure to manage one's emotions.
That's it.
That's it. Now, I know that may sound very simplified. It takes a lot to be able to do that. Believe me when I tell you, especially when you feel like there's just, if you feel hopeless, you feel helpless. And those two do not get along. I mean, to have that. And we've often said that when you're coming from love, you can't have two opposing thoughts. You can't come from love and hate, or good and evil at the same time. It doesn't work that way. I don't know why it doesn't work that way, but just try it.
They call it cognitive dissonance.
Is that what it's called?
Cognitive dissonance. You can't have two opposing forces in the mind.
Oh, that's right. I've heard you say that before.
Book written by Anna Weiss called The High Performance Mind. And in her book, she states that a high performance mind is one that can take and benefit themselves by actually focusing on the good things the mind can do rather than the poor things. It's sort of like being able to take your emotions and find what emotion is best for this circumstance.
Ah.
What emotion, in other words, every circumstance requires a different emotion. Once you, like Anna Weiss said, a high performance mind is one that at will can reach that state of consciousness that is good, beneficial, and like a, how would I say it, like a beacon of energy light coming from the body.
And that is exactly what happens.
Absolutely.
You know, we're all the same, okay? I have my moments. You have your moments, but very little. I will say that, and I think it has a lot to do with the physiology, in males being males, women being women, and we come from a much more emotional standpoint, so we have to work a little bit harder at that. And I do wear my heart on my sleeve, and I do take a lot of different situations, and I can be that empath. And I mean, I could just sit and bawl watching something on TV that just isn't right. And so we minimize the news that we're watching because of all what's going on there. We don't know who to believe about anything. So I've really enjoyed being hunkered down and having these skill sets of living a heart-centered life, because it has helped. That is the main thing that has really helped us get through it. And the fact that we have, for the most part, taken good care of ourselves, we've exercised, we've done a lot of dancing together, and taking a good, solid supplement program, and listening to music and laughing at ourselves. Is anybody laughing anymore? And you can see them through those face masks because their eyes twinkle, right? So
yeah, that's a good thing.
It's true. It's really true. So if I smile when I'm out, because I know they can see me smiling through that face mask, right? But it's just one of those things where you just got to sit back. We say our prayers. We eat healthy. We try and do as much organic as we possibly can. After the research that I did a few years back, especially with the P word, which I don't like to give it energy, but I think you're doing really fantastic with that. And we use that too to let people know that no matter what you're hit with, there's always hope, there's always prayer, there's always something out there that will help you get to a next level. I have a really dear friend who's going through some challenges, and she's helping herself by helping others going through the same challenges that she is. And I really commend her for that. I don't know if I could, maybe I could. I mean, we've all been through craziness, and there's a lot of craziness out there today. And then when you're hit with a health challenge or a financial hardship or setback, it's tough. It's really tough. And don't kid yourself. We have been through all of the above, haven't we?
Several times.
Yes, several times over. Made it, lost it, right? But we're still healthy. we feel we're healthy and still happy and still in love. 20-year anniversary this October.
Boy, it's a long time.
I know. We just celebrated my...
But in a way, it seems like yesterday.
That we were just saying before the show how really fast time is truly flying by. It didn't seem like that while we were hunkered down, safe in place for 4 months or whatever. I mean, I was able to get out, or I would take you with me and still take you with me, and I run in, I'd suit up, mask up, run in, get what I need, and run out. But I am starting to think to back off a little bit more now that we have another surge of this virus. And we don't take this lightly, believe me, we don't. We're very cognizant, and we want to do everything we can, and we're hoping that you are as well, and we'll get through this.
Well, unfortunately, it's a political thing more than it should be.
Don't get me started.
No, I won't get you started, because then I get myself started. Just want to mention that. I won't go that route anymore right now.
It's so true.
It's what can we learn from this? Well, we still can learn from it. We can learn that it helps us to help someone else this is a crisis, and it is a crisis, a major crisis.
It is. It is.
But it could change the whole world if it goes the right way. But if there are enough people think like that, like from HeartMath Institute, the whole world would change in a positive, caring, loving way.
I want to give, I could talk about HeartMath Institute all day, all night, forever and ever. And we do bring them up and give them much due credit. But when 9/11 happened, and I didn't know this until afterwards, but they have sensors all around the planet, all around the world, that senses the, what do I want to call it, frequency or vibration of Mother Earth. And just before 9/11 happened, and I may have this all out of whatever, but I think you'll get my drift, that those sensors were going off, feeling the energy of the people.
Like there was an earthquake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the truth.
And that's why we're so passionate about sharing these skill sets, because anyone can do them. Please go to either one of our websites, dennis-kelly.com, click on the HeartMath Experience on the front page, and you will get all these courses that are actually condensed down to PDFs and videos. It's about 90 minutes or so of that, and I'll tell you, you will start to feel a little bit better each day, and there's so much there. Take notes, have a pad, take your notes like I have. In fact, on April 14th, it was Valentine's Day, HeartMath put out a program to become licensed to offer a program to children. I thought, I'm going to test my grandson out. He's only 6, and most of the time he has the attention span of a gnat, unless he's on his iPad or he's on his HeartSmart. And I thought, I wonder if I could get at least 5 minutes of attention with him so that he learns. This is the one thing I want to do on my part when he's over at our place, because my son and my daughter-in-law are doing a great job parenting, because they're effective parenting, they're participating parents, they spend time with them, they discipline him, but yet they give him love and caring and attention in just a wonderful way. So I tested him on this HeartSmart for Kids, and I thought 5 minutes, I'll be happy. 10 minutes, I'll really be happy. And I didn't think we'd get past that. He ended up going 35 minutes. First of all, he could relate to it because it was on the electronic device. And he kept looking at me as if to say, I really like this, without admitting it, because he was really sitting there for all that time. And I think the time, we were just talking about time going so fast, but because he was enjoying what it's like to become a detective and understand what emotions are, and why people, children, grown adults, grandparents, we lose that ability to manage our emotions. Take a look out in the streets and what's happening out there today. Wouldn't that be a perfect example of failing to manage our emotions?
You take the wealthiest human beings on the planet, I'm talking the really billionaires, they all have that ability, or most of them, 90% of them, to control their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Once you learn to control your emotions, a whole new world opens up before you.
Yeah.
The highest paid people on this planet are usually people that can control their emotions. But the most important thing, the people that are able to do that are the healthiest people in most cases. Because if you're not controlling your emotion, you're putting bad hormones into the body, bad chemicals into the body, and you're creating a scenario of defeat rather than victory. As a result, your life is spent most of the time putting out small fires.
Oh, and that's just such
Putting
a
out
pain.
fires.
Exactly.
So rather than putting out fires, the key thing is find a way to be able to make this person feel good without overextending the compliment.
Exactly. And
Or a group of people, not just a person.
well, and that's why we love using this platform, because we feel like we can reach more people, just like we did when you came on HSN, when I was a host. You sold your book, you sold the freeze frame from HeartMath Institute, and you sold our Tai Chi Qigong videos, because it was a program. Gosh, when was that? That was a long time ago, hon. Long time ago.
It sure was.
It had to be, well, I've been gone now, it's 14 years, so it was a few years before that. And some of those people, and you may be watching today, some of them are still, they're coming back, because we sold the VHS then, remember?
Yeah.
The VHS are that big. And so they're coming to get the DVDs, and now the DVDs, excuse me, we still get orders for the DVDs. That's fine, because, you know, those of us baby boomers, that's what we know. We're not in tune to this. I'm working on it, trust me, I really am. But now is a perfect time to mention about the phone application that is also available now, where you can get 3 of the classes that we also have on the DVD that you can purchase from Dennis Kelly's website, dennis-kelly.com. Those DVDs are on there. But guess what? If you go to MasterKelly at zomly.com, up will come the offer for you to subscribe on a monthly basis. It shows that you can get all 3 of these classes, you can see it right here, for like $30 a month, and that includes 3 classes that you can watch anytime you want, as many times as you want. And we're really, really honored and grateful that we had somebody that we can hook you up with too. If you ever want to get your own phone app, we'll be happy to do that, because we're really pleased when, if I back up a little bit, we lost all of our classes, just like that, in a blink of an eye. We lost all of our classes, all of that contact with the students who love you for who you are, and all the information and the healthy wellness that you share with them, and all of your secrets to success, the self-mastery that you and I have learned over the years. And I'll tell you, that self-mastery has gotten us through these last few months, including having that right mindset. What you said, what you think about, you bring about. We brought about just the right people that we need in a time where people are trying to catch up with their health and trying to build their immune system. So what comes knocking onto our door? Not a stranger, but someone that you've known for 25 years, offering not pills and potions and lotions, but a system that is very high-powered in the immune boosters. And that's what we've been doing. We thought, my goodness, of all the things. And here, I mean, that came from above. That really did. Didn't that blow your mind?
Yes, it certainly did.
And so we didn't tell anybody, because we don't do that till we research, backed by science, clinical studies, MDs, board-certified MDs that are involved, and the people that have been taking these products as well with phenomenal results. And of course, we're not here to say that we can diagnose or treat any diseases or anything like that whatsoever. We're here to share what has worked for us in the matter of self-mastery. And that's what we do, and we're going to continue to do that. And like I say, next Monday or the following Monday, we're going to have even more for you. So I hope you'll set your clock or your timer. I finally learned how to set this timer. You know what I learned that for? John, you'll love this. I learned how to set this timer so that when my grandson gets on it, he's only on it a certain amount of time, and it works. I have a lovely harp sound, so it's not a real annoying sound. All I have to do is walk into the little room where he likes his alone time, mind you, with his pad. All I have to do is just let him listen to this. He shuts it off. He goes, "What are we doing now, Mimi?" It's wonderful. I love that kid. Anyway, hopefully I'll see him again this week. Had the good thing that I didn't get a chance to mention was our 3 months of homeschooling our grandson JD. So that was always a lot of fun. And
yeah, he seems to really be doing well.
He is. He's doing really good.
And you're teaching him a lot of philosophies from HeartMath.
Yep. He's actually ready for the adult version. What you can get through the HeartMath Experience. I know he'll understand a lot of that. He is so intelligent, so smart, and it's really important for kids to, I think, get back to school with all the caution and precaution. They need that interaction with other kids. I mean, I like to think I'm a kid at heart, but it's not the same.
You are. In many ways, that's a good compliment, though.
So anyway, I wanted to make sure that you know how to get to that phone application if you want to take some Tai Chi or Qi Kong. And we only have about 15 minutes and a few seconds remaining. So I wanted to give this last few minutes about how important, we've talked about how important it is to work out, be physical active, and there's things we can do at home. We highly recommend a rebounder with a handle so that you can get started with that, because that helps to flush toxins out of the system, right?
More so than any other exercise we know of.
Yes. And in fact, we're trying to get our order on its way to us here any time now, because we had to toss the other one out that lasted 15 years. But what we're going to try to do here as well is give you some Tai Chi, Qi Kong moves eventually as you tune in from time to time. What is the difference between the Qi Kong and the Tai Chi, and what are all the benefits that anyone that's out there in our audience today can glean from?
Well, that I could take about 3 or 4 hours in
I know, and you have.
Get me going on that. I never want to stop. Well, Qi Kong and Tai Chi are by far, there's no doubt in my mind and the mind of the experts, that Tai Chi and Qi Kong are the best stress-reducing exercisers in the world. Because with Qi Kong, you have meditation and motion. With Tai Chi, you have the ability to develop the flexibility and softness of a child. With the other side of the fence is it helps you if you're going to do a hardcore exercise. If you have the muscles trained to go slow, they're all working together in perfect balance. The heart, the mind, and the gut are all working in basic trilogy in making that body more comfortable and making the body healthier and making the body stronger. These are 2 exercises. The Qi Kong came out in 475 AD, was a means to meditate for the monks, because they were meditating seated for 3 or 4 hours a day. The problem with that, they had great minds, but their body was physically weak. So a Buddhist came to the emperor of China, wanted to show him an exercise that could get his monks healthy, and in other words, do the meditating in motion, movement meditation. They call it the movement meditation, then eventually got the name of Qi Kong. So here they had this exercise that developed strong bodies, strong mind, and very, very, how would I say it, very complementary to the whole unit, the whole empire that were practicing this. Then around 1300 AD, Tai Chi came in. Tai Chi got started because the monks had the problem of every 3 months or so, the bandits would come and steal their food, take their food on, and do them physically harm. So the problem there is they couldn't use weapons because of the feudalistic government. So they would have to be very careful about how they treated some of these soldiers as they came by stealing the food. But finally, and you could see from 475 AD to 1300 AD, that's a long time, so very patient monks. So what happened then, they saw a snake, this monk saw a snake in a train fighting. And they saw how agile they were. So they decided to put together a fighting program done very slow, because the snake and the crane were moving very slow and then very fast. So they decided to do that type of formula, slow, fast, mostly slow, because if the troops came by and saw them doing something hardcore fast that could threaten them, they would put them to death or put them in prison. So here they did these slow movements, and the troops would come by and they'd see these slow movements. The troops used to laugh at them and say, "They call that exercising?" But they weren't. The monks weren't a threat to the soldiers, because the soldiers didn't know that every movement could take somebody out in a matter of seconds. And they were very powerful, so they had the best of both worlds. Now Tai Chi is taught as an exercise. It's not taught for fighting. You have Taekwondo, Karate, and these type of exercises that are hardcore, as I call. So anyway, that's the story, and now it's very popular. Tai Chi and Qigong are the most popular exercises in the world at this point.
They are?
Millions in the parks in China. Over here, it hasn't caught up with China yet, but it's getting close.
I think so too, and I always love to hear you give the history of it, because it's been around for so long. The doctors are even recommending it to their patients because it is so healthy. I mean, what's different about our classes is that you share features and benefits, and includes a lot of nutritional education as well, because you're a certified sport nutritionist.
Yeah, there are superfoods out right now that like putting high-octane gas in a racing car.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
if you take low-octane gas, put in a racing car, the car won't even hardly run.
And that's what we need. That is what we need. We need that high octane.
Yeah.
Doing our homework, and again, having that strong belief system. And I mean, my goodness, we've been into health and wellness ever since I've known you. And I was into health and wellness before that, but I ramped up to a much higher level because of the knowledge that you have had, and we've done that research. You always talk about how you research the researchers, and that's true. We do.
The eclectic of the eclectic.
Yeah, because we want to know. If we're going to put something in our body and tell you about it, we better make sure that we're walking our talk, and we can give a story. Again, we don't go out and say that we're here to help diagnose or treat or cure any kind of diseases whatsoever. All we're here for is to raise the awareness, and you make the decision, right?
That's actually correct.
Because right now, I think so many people, I've talked to a lot of people where they say, I just want somebody to tell me what to do. Well, I don't want anybody to really tell me what to do, but I've felt like that. Like my brain has no more space in any brain cells. They're all closed up, and it's like, how many times have I said when we've got a lot of things going on at the same time, I go, stop right there. I need to take a break, and just let me center and just, do this.
It's amazing how just a few movements can lower the blood pressure, lower the pulse, and once you get in a habit of that, the body craves it. It takes a while to get in a habit, like a couple months,
well,
month.
What you're saying there is true. And if you can go to Amazon and get this book on Tai Chi in 12 weeks, written by Harvard. And they can make those claims in that book because they did the research. And I have a couple of books. I had an extra book because we lost the one in the house. And so I ordered the second one to make sure we had it, and I'm sending that off to Mary Louise so she has all that documentation. And now we understand, when you have the research, when you have the documentation that backs it up and validates it, I want to lean in a little further and hear more of what somebody has to say. And that's what we've been doing. And thankfully, we are so thankful, because we feel like we're taking that upper edge, we're raising our immune system a little bit higher and having that right mindset, because we didn't even get to the part of one angry thought spent for how many minutes or more? 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
And what happens? I'm going to leave you with this, because this is what changed my life 23 years ago when my husband said that to me, is what happens when you can't manage your emotions with one angry thought for 5 minutes or more.
Yeah, one angry thought held for 5 minutes or more lowers your IgA level, which is your first line of immune defense, and distorts the whole body with bad hormones in the body, bad chemicals going in, because cortisol is a good hormone if it's done sparingly. Like, it helps you go through the day, it helps you keep and get excited about positive things. But when you're negative, the cortisol starts destroying the body. The cortisol then does bad things to the body. So the key is to check each day, each hour, and how that particular hour feel. Well, if you're negative, you're losing the thoughts of good chemicals in the body, and you're bringing a thought of poor chemicals in the body. So you got 5 minutes to change. Actually, what I recommend my students do is anything that's negative, you got 2 minutes to change it to a positive. Otherwise, you're going to put those bad chemicals into the body. So what happens when you get negative, replace it with a positive thought. Find out what things that you think about in your life to make you feel good when you think about it. So once you establish that, then anytime you start getting upset or whatever, you got 2 minutes to change that to a positive thought. Once you learn how to do that, it takes a lot of practice over a period of time. Once you learn how to do that, you reach a state of imperturbability where nobody can float your boat. Only person who can float your boat would be yourself. And once you learn how to do that, for the first time in your life, you have complete control over yourself, over your body. If you're really interested, get into the HeartMath reading material. Go to the computer, order that material. It'll change your life dramatically if you follow through with it.
You know, that's true. It's called Heart Empowerment, and you'll see that all over both of our websites, a lot of our pages that we talk about heart empowerment, and really that's what it's about, is how we can empower our lives and help to empower the lives of others. In fact, when you were talking about the 2 minutes and the 5 minutes, Helena, one of our Women Unscripted, a woman who wears many, many hats, one of our dear best friends, we've got her trained now. When she'll hear something in the neighborhood, she's very involved in the community, well, has been very involved, and she'll be venting, and she'll say, did I go past 2 minutes? And either she has or she hasn't. So it's really like training yourself into this belief system that if you go past, and this is all documented, I mean, this is all you learned at HeartMath Institute. And I love sharing this because it's not like us just coming up with, making something up. And it does my heart so good when I see somebody that adapts this to their system of managing their emotions.
Well, the key is to make this a game. Practice this. Anytime that you feel stressed out, then have a little rubber band on your wrist, snap the rubber band. Then you go to the positive rather than negative. So one angry thought, like I say, lowers your immune system. And if you have an angry thought, snap the rubber band, and then you got 2 minutes to create a positive thought. Now the key thing is, the game of this is, now you go 7 days without going past 2 minutes. You'll never, ever be the same. I'm telling you. But the key thing is, very hard to go 7 days without going past 2 minutes. It takes a lot of willpower, mind power to do it, but it's worth it. Start with little mundane things, little things that really don't matter that much, but you get to practice how to get out of the heart with a negative, replacing it with a positive. You got 2 minutes to do that. And go 7 days without going past 2 minutes. Like I say, your life will never be the same. You will be in control of your life more than you ever imagined. Now, something so simple, something so simple, is very hard to really believe that, but it's so true. Now, if you're at the 4th day and you pop the rubber band and you go past 2 minutes, then you got to start all over again from day one.
That happened to me.
It happened to me twice. So by the 3rd time, I said, this is ridiculous. I should be able to go past 2 minutes. Well, now it's a piece of cake.
It is.
I don't even have to think about it. It's just automatic. I don't know how to be negative for 2 minutes or more. I just can't do it, and I don't want to do it.
No.
But I can teach my students how to do that, and that is what really gets to be fun, is when you have, like, I will sometimes, if a waitress I see, she's having a bad day, and I got an extra rubber band, I'll tell her this, and I've had the waitress come back, I did that, it's working, I'm feeling much better.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll leave it with that thought, and I'll turn it back over to you.
I love that exercise because it honestly works. And when you know that, I mean, think about how many 5 minutes in just a half a day, especially these days. And if you turn on the news, well, that's just a steady stream of a whole bunch of 2 and 5 minutes that just add up, and then before you know it, you wonder why you're so exhausted. Because that takes a lot out of you when you are trying to fight against this, and it's just crazy stuff. So when you do these exercises, it gets you out of your own way. At least that's what it does for me. It gets me out of my own way. And I'm not 100% at that. There are times when I really have to think before I speak or whatever, and just go to my heart, because I don't ever want to offend anyone. Now, I got to say, sometimes it gets a little ridiculous out there with some things. I mean,
Then you have to go into tough love.
oh, then you got to go into tough love. We'll save that for another time. We only have a minute left. Do you believe
You
it?
got to be kidding me.
I am not kidding.
Fastest hour. I enjoy it so much.
And that's
because
why.
it gives me that satisfaction to know somebody out there is probably going to have a bad day, and this will change a bad day into a good day.
We certainly hope so. I want to thank you for co-hosting with me today, and I want to say a big shout out to all of our Women Unscripted and our friends and family that tune in to see what kind of info that we've dug up, any recent things, and that's where we're going to continue on. Make sure you mark your calendar for every Monday at 2 p.m. We're excited about this new time slot, and we're going to have some special guests coming on that will definitely make that everlasting impression on you. Really good, wholesome people that you'll be able to relate to. But until we meet again, stay healthy, do what you're supposed to do. Try to remember that 2-minute rule. If somebody gets in your way, or if you have a negative thought, go to barbaramarville.com, dennis-kelly.com, go to MasterKelly at zomly.com. Take some classes. In the meantime, God bless. We'll all get through this together. I promise. Take care.